Welcome back to my channel. So last video was about a lesson called The Woman on Platform 8. So we are going to continue with that, and in case you have not watched it, I request you to please go back, watch the first part and then come and watch the second. So for the ones who have watched the first, let's continue with the lesson.
Satish's mother said, "It's such a nuisance having to wait for the train right in the middle of the night. But one can't let the child wait here alone. Anything can happen to a boy at a big station like this, and there are so many suspicious characters hanging around. These days, one has to be very careful of strangers." "Arun can travel alone though," said the woman beside me, and somehow I felt grateful to her for saying that. I had already forgiven her for lying, and besides, I had taken an instinctive dislike for Satish's mother. "Well, be very careful, Arun," said Satish's mother, looking sternly at me through her spectacles. "Be very careful when your mother is not with you, and never talk to strangers." I looked from Satish's mother to the woman who had given me tea and sweets, and then back at Satish's mother. "I like strangers," I said. Then Satish's mother started talking to her. She said, "It's such a nuisance having to wait for the train at the middle of the night, and we cannot even send our child all alone here. Anything can happen. It's a big station here, and there are so many suspicious people. Anyone can do anything to them. We have to be very careful of strangers." So immediately that woman, she says, "Arun can travel all alone. He doesn't have any problem." And immediately Arun was so happy to hear that he had forgiven her for lying that she was his mother. And somewhat he started hating Satish's mother. He started not liking her. So Satish's mother looks at Arun and she says, "You have to be very careful, Arun. You have to be very careful when your mother is not with you, and never talk to strangers." So Arun looked at Satish's mother, then he looked at that woman who was very kind towards him. Again he looked at Satish's mother and he says, "I like strangers." Satish's mother definitely staggered a little, as obviously she was not used to being contradicted by small boys. "There you are, you see. If you don't watch over them all the time, they will walk straight into trouble. Always listen to what your mother tells you," she said, wagging a fat little finger at me, "and never talk to strangers." I glared resentfully at her and moved closer to the woman who had befriended me. Satish was standing behind his mother, grinning at me, delighting in my clash with his mother. Apparently he was on my side. The station bell clanged, and the people who had till now been squatting resignedly on the platform began bustling about. "Here it comes," shouted Satish, as the engine whistle shrieked and the front lights played over the rails. Now Satish's mother was a little angry because a young boy is contradicting her opinions. So she says, "There you are, you see. If you don't watch over them all the time, they will walk straight into trouble. Always listen to what your mother says. And don't talk to strangers." She was pointing a finger at him and saying all this. So Arun moved closer to the woman who had been his friend for so long time. And Satish was standing behind his mother and he was laughing. He was grinning at him and he was enjoying the entire conversation between Arun and his mother. And apparently he was on Arun's side. Finally the station bell rang and it was the train which had arrived. So Satish shouted, he says, "Here it comes, the train has come." The train moved slowly into the station, the engine hissing and sending out waves of steam. As it came to a stop, Satish jumped on the footboard of a lighted compartment and shouted, "Come on, Arun, this one's empty." and I picked up my suitcase and made a dash for the open door. We placed ourselves at the open windows, and the two women stood outside on the platform talking up to us. Satish's mother did most of the talking. "Now don't jump on and off moving trains as you did just now," she said, "and don't stick your heads out of the windows, and don't eat any rubbish on the way." She allowed me to share the benefit of her advice, as she probably didn't think my mother a very capable person. She handed Satish a bag of fruits, a cricket bat, and a big box of chocolates, and told him to share the food with me. Then she stood back from the window to watch how my mother behaved. So when the train came towards the platform as it was about to stop, Satish jumped on the footboard and he shouted, "Come on, Arun, this one's empty, so we have a space here." So Arun immediately picked up his suitcase and he also ran towards the open door. After they were seated and they were near the windows, the two women stood outside of the platform talking to them. And it was almost Satish's mother who was talking a lot. And she started giving advices. "Now don't jump on that moving train like that, just like how you did now. Don't do that. And don't stick your heads out of the windows. Don't eat any rubbish on the way." She was saying all this not only to Satish, but she was also implying it to Arun, because she thought that his mother was not that very capable person. She wouldn't tell him anything. So she kept on saying all these advices. Then she handed a bag of fruits, a cricket bat, and a big box of chocolate, and she told Satish to share it with Arun. Then she stood back to see how Arun's mother would say goodbye to her child. I was smarting under the patronizing tone of Satish's mother, who obviously thought mine a very poor family, and I did not intend giving the other woman away. I let her take my hand in hers, but I could think of nothing to say. I was conscious of Satish's mother staring at us with hard, beady eyes, and I found myself hating her with a firm, unreasoning hate. The guard walked up the platform, blowing his whistle for the train to leave. I looked straight into the eyes of the woman who held my hand, and she smiled in a gentle, understanding way. I leaned out of the window and put my lips to her cheek and kissed her. The carriage jolted forwards, and she drew her hand away. Now Arun had this constant thinking of Satish's mother, what all she said, and he knew that she is constantly looking, staring at them like what is going to happen or what are they going to say to each other. And Arun was completely clueless. He was confused. He didn't know what to say. So he let the woman take his hand in hers, and they did not do any talking. They were just standing there, and this boy started hating that Satish's mother because she was constantly staring at them to see what is going to happen. And the guard walked up the platform and he started blowing the whistle for the train to leave. And he looked straight into the eyes of that woman. She smiled in a very warm and gentle manner, and this boy, instead of saying anything to her, he just felt happy to see that he gave a kiss towards her cheek. And as the train started, she withdrew her hand away. "Goodbye, mother," said Satish, as the train began to move slowly out of the station. Satish and his mother waved to each other. "Goodbye," I said to the other woman. "Goodbye, mother." I didn't wave or shout, but sat still in front of the window, gazing at the woman on the platform. Satish's mother was talking to her, but she didn't appear to be listening. She was looking at me as the train took me away. She stood there on the busy platform, a pale, sweet woman in white, and I watched her until she was lost in the miling crowd. So Satish started shouting, "Goodbye, mother," and as the train moved away, so they were waving to each other, Satish and his mother. But this woman, she was just standing there, and this boy Arun, he says goodbye, and he says, "Goodbye, mother," and the train moves away. They both didn't wave or shout And this boy Arun, he just sat in front of the window and he was just looking at that woman on the platform. And he would see that Satish's mother was talking to that woman, but she was not listening to her. She was also constantly looking at Arun, and they both kept on looking at each other till their visions faded and the train moved away. Thank you for watching, and I do hope you have understood this lesson. In case you have any doubts, you can comment below and keep watching for more videos. Thank you and stay safe, and do subscribe to my channel. Thank you.